Hi, my name's Sue from createwithsue.com and thank you for joining me today. We're going to be creating a HTV puff HTV from Zoom Precision Rainbow Harmony Day design. So we'll go over to the SVG icon and we'll bring this design in. And if you click on there and go and grab it from wherever you've downloaded it, it's available in my resource library, so you can actually download that. And that's what it looks like. And you'll see over here on the right in the layers panel all the various layers, and they've come in separated, so you can see that that's the text there. You can actually change the text if you don't want it to be Harmony Day. Just go over to the text tool and choose a fairly blocky font. So there's a few to choose from in my selection, and I'm sure there probably is in yours as well. Just click onto your mat and type the words that you want. Or just type happiness. You can type whatever you need to type. Happiness is good. Just make sure, as I said before, that it's a fairly chunky sort of font, not too refined. Just position it up and adjust the size to suit the design and the effect that you would like to have. You can see these parts are fairly large cutouts. With puff, it kind of overtakes itself into, as it puffs, sort of comes onto itself. So you don't want anything that's not got much space between the lines, otherwise it will puff together when you press it. There's a few designs, a few fonts you could choose from. Write whatever you like. Just go with perhaps Love this time. This one would turn out really well. There we go. Just adjust it to the size that you want. That one would be very easy to create and weed quite well. Adjust it so it's aesthetically pleasing to your eye. I don't think that's a bit stretched. I don't really like that. Stretch it down. Not too bad. Anyway, you can choose whatever you like to put there. I'm going to go with the Harmony Day for this one because that's the t-shirt I'm creating. Alright, so if you select your pattern and group it, make sure you've got all the pieces. Down here on the right you can click on group, or you can go up to the top menu and you'll see group as well. And then when you rotate it, we'll group that again because we want the letters to be grouped as well. When you mirror it, I should say, not rotate, mirror. For HTV, you always have to mirror. So when you mirror it, if you have it grouped, all the pieces will go over uniformly. And there it is mirrored. So you'll find the mirror in the edit panel on the right. That's it, mirrored, ready to go over to your machine. Adjust it down to the size you want. I went with about 6 inches by about 5 inches, I think, from memory. You can use your grids, or you can use your measurements on the right hand side to select the sizing. I did it for a little t-shirt for a little girl, so you do it accordingly to the size t-shirt that you were making. And that looks not too bad. Just to take it off the edge a little bit. A little bit bigger. So just adjust it to the size you need. Once you're happy with it, send it over to your ScanNCut. Go File and Export, and then I use my Wi-Fi. If you're using the USB, you would use that one above. And there it's gone over to machine. We'll go over to the machine. Alright, this is the HTV that I've used. It's from Precision Zoom, or Zoom Precision, and it's kind of really a rubbery feel. Has the shiny backing, very similar to the shiny carrier sheet, similar to other HTV, but it feels quite a rubbery, different, if I would use the word different, texture. And weeding is a little bit different too. Anyway, it cuts The cut's okay. You may need to make some adjustments. Make sure you do a test cut. Always recommend that. So retrieve your design. And the one up the top right on the cloud, because I used the Wi-Fi, you would choose, if you had USB, you'd choose the one for USB. And there it's popped it in. I'm scanning my mat so I can see the placement. I've used a full sheet, so it's not a big deal. It will be just on my sheet, on my mat. The sheet would just be on my mat. But if you're using a piece of leftover HTV, you would definitely need to scan it. I'm just scanning it so you can see it being scanned, and there it is sitting on the screen there. Just adjust it so it's just in off the edge and go OK. And I'm going to choose cut, and I'm going to select the half cut. In the wrench icon, and turn your half cut on, and you can add a weeding box. The weeding box is just there. I found the weeding box did help with this. You can adjust the weeding box spacing down. It's the spacing away from the edge. So it can go down and up again if you want to. You would just go OK when you're done. And I've obviously not got quite enough room, so we'll just fix that up. Move it out from the edge. Mustn't have had enough room on the mat to add the weeding box. And now I've got plenty of room, I know that. We'll go back into the wrench, and this time I'm going to put that back to 20. So it's only a little bit different. Pop that back. And there we go, we've added the weeding box. Now, as I said before, remember to do the test cut, so we'll pop a test cut in there. You can move the little test cut triangle to a place that works best for you on your particular design. You can change it from a triangle to a circle. There's a few options. I usually use a triangle. And we'll do that test cut and see what it does. I would recommend for this particular HTV to actually do the test cut and then double check. Have a look. I'll just get in this test cut to see whether it's going to come out. Okay, I'm going to test again because it didn't cut very well. Okay, let's move it over a bit further. And we'll go into the wrench and we'll do some adjustment. So I'm going to take it off auto for I've gone into the half cut, and I'm going to take it off of auto for the cut pressure. I'm going to try 6 and see if that's an improvement. And we'll start that test cut again. And let's see if that's any better cut. As I said, this is quite a rubbery feel to the HTV. It's not like normal HTV. In comparison, it's sort of stretchy. It's very interesting. I found it a very fun project to create. And there's my test cut. But I think I might actually just adjust it a bit further because it was a little bit stringy to pull out. If I describe it like that. We'll just give it a little bit more. Hopefully not too much more. We'll go OK. And we'll try again. Alright, this is looking better. And we'll go start and cut this design out. So you can see my test cuts there. That first one didn't really come through at all. And we'll cut the design. I might just speed this part of the video up and make it a bit quicker for you to watch. Alright, and you can see on that top one, It definitely wouldn't pull out, so it needed adjustment, and I've looked like I've cut through a little bit here, so I've actually adjusted it a little bit deep. That's okay, I'm not worried about that, we can fix that. Overall, I think it's going to be alright, and we'll go over and we'll weed it. Alright, so there's ways to repair this, and as you can see I've put a little bit of tape there where I've cut through. There's a few areas I've put tape. This is the carrier side, and you need to use heat-proof tape, not normal vinyl, adhesive vinyl transfer tape. It actually needs to be heat-proof tape. So it's just on a roller. I'll show you a picture of the roller in a little while. And just put a few pieces of tape around where it's cut through if you have this mistake. Probably the adjustment before would have been perfectly fine. Right, that's what it looks like on the side that we're going to weed, and it pulls up relatively easily, and you'll see me, it's a little bit stretchy, which is fine. Just be careful you only peel the unwanted vinyl away and leave the parts of the design there. Just lift it away carefully. You can use your weeding tool. I quite like my fingers for the bigger areas. And you can see the area of the weeding box. That's the square around it. So the weeding box does help a lot. If this applies to all weeding, if the letters lift, just pop them back and hold them down a bit and give it a bit of a help. And this is fairly easy to weed, really. Just work your way through it gently. And that bit there's a bit caught. You can see it stretching. Maybe not. You might not be able to. Just pop it down. I found that the puff vinyl is fairly forgiving if it does do that. Can't really see it on your design. If it gets a bit much, you can always cut some of this off too. So as the area gets larger. For HTV it's much easier because what you're peeling off is not sticky, but with normal adhesive vinyl you'll find the pieces are very sticky and you're inclined to stick to the other pieces, so it's a good idea to cut them off where they're starting to be a bit inconvenient for you. So this design could be done in normal vinyl if you prefer, normal HTV or normal adhesive vinyl. Just cut off the pieces that are in your way and get rid of them. And then you can start fresh with some new areas, which is much easier. The carrier sheet's quite sticky as well, so things do stick down, like your HTV will stick back down. You can do this a couple of ways. I always weed the larger parts first and then aim for the smaller pieces. However, you can do the smaller pieces first, whichever really works in your favour. I just like to get rid of the bulk and then I'll hunt for the small pieces after that. As I said, if any lift, just help with your finger. With HTV, it often leaves a little mark on the carrier sheet, so it's pretty easy to piece at any parts that pop up. It's pretty easy to pop them back down again in the exact same location because you can see like a little outline. So the smaller the pieces were a little bit harder to get out. That A has given me some trouble. So it's only got a little tiny circular part. We'll work on that. Leave that to the hard bit. As I said, pick a blocky design for your font and design. Makes it a lot easier for this particular substrate. The A wasn't cut through properly. For some reason it's just not behaving. The machine's not cut the A quite right. And I've got a little bit of leftover vinyl there. I'll work out how to get that off as well. So I don't want that because that'll wreck my design. If you have something that hasn't cut through properly, you can use an X-Acto knife or some trimming scissors or something. Okay, so let's load up onto my t-shirt. So I'll pop the machine on. Now actually I press fairly quickly with low temperatures. Make sure there's no bits on the mat. And I'll pop my t-shirt on there. So that's the design. You can see it's been weeded out. We'll just pop it on the front here. Line it up. I often get a measuring, like a ruler, to measure the distance. And it will kind of sit as the back carrier will stick a little bit to the t-shirt material. Otherwise you can use tape if it's not quite right. I'm just going to adjust the machine because at this point I'm not really sure what temperature I'm going to set this at. The instructions say use an iron and just wave it over a little bit, sort of lightly over until it starts puffing. But of course I wanted to use my heat press, so we're going to wing it. Now I'll just measure my design a little bit to see if it's in the centre. I think it is. I'll adjust it if it's not. I guess everyone does this a little bit differently. This is kind of just how I do it. It's a little bit off centre. I'm just going to shift it around a little bit. I'm one of those people that if you can put it on crooked, I will. So I'm usually very careful with this section. I'll just check those measurements again. Yep, that's pretty good. Alright, I'm going to put a Teflon sheet over this just to protect my heat press. Now this is the instructions that they give you. It's quite good instructions. It just doesn't tell you the time, the heat press, or particularly this heat press. So we'll just see how it goes and fingers crossed. I'll push the drawer in and press go. And we're going for 15 seconds. Oh, it's been puffed, so that's good. Just put the Teflon sheet away and lift the carrier sheet off. Be a bit hot. Oh, there we go. And it's puffed beautifully. Oh, very excited about that. It's a bit hot. It's got an interesting texture about it, so it's really interesting. I've made this for my little granddaughter. She's going to love this. Can't see any areas where I've had to pull it a little bit where it's not come out okay, so that's good. As I said, it seems fairly forgiving with the areas I had to pull. Anyway, you can get this free design in my resource library, and that's a different angle. It's just a picture I've taken at a bit of an angle, and here's a close-up of it. You can see the texture. Join me again next time.